Arn, with all this out of the way, let's talk about you and all things July 1993. 2 weeks ago, prior to having Brock on the show, we talked about all things June 1993, including, as we said at the top of the show, your willingness to smack Granny in the mouth, and we had a lot of fun with this. But this week, we're going to move the story forward as we go into July. With much of our discussion, it's going to be centered around Beach Blast 1993. And as we saw 2 weeks ago, all three of the Horsemen were involved in programs with title implications. You have Flair, right? He's challenging former Horseman Barry Windham for the world title, which, by the way, he never actually lost because Flair had moved on. Now he's come back to the company. We have you and Paul Roma, and you guys are trying to settle your battle with the Hollywood Blondes for the tag team titles. So you guys are all up in it for the tag team gold. But before we get to Biloxi, Mississippi, I thought we could take a look at the July 3rd WCW Worldwide episode where Jesse the Body Ventura interviews the Horsemen. That's right, you, Paul, and Rick. And we want to hear what the three of you had to say in this interview. Guys, this is from July 3rd, 1993. Let's take a look.
Standing by with the Four Horsemen, or the Horsemen as they're called today. I got a two-part question for you guys. First of all, 2 weeks away, Beach Blast, Nature Boy Ric Flair, you get your shot at the NWA title and Big Barry Windham.
What I get, buddy, is a shot at being the man one more time. And Barry Windham, you can run, you can hide, you can plead, and you can beg. But your name's on the dotted line, and you gotta show up. So, baby, we're gonna style and profile. Woo!
Arn Anderson, Paul Roma, you get your shot at the Hollywood Blondes. And I gotta reiterate what they called you not long ago. They said the fat man, the old man, and the idiot.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something, Hollywood Blondes. You can do all your talking, all your jawing, but it's not going to save you that night when you get in the ring with my partner and myself. You're going down to the Four Horsemen. They say the Horsemen are human, but we can also be inhuman. That you will find out very soon, I promise you.
Well, for Tony Schiavone, this is Jesse the Body Ventura.
Let me show you the old man one time. How about it, baby?
Anyway, for Tony Schiavone, this is Jesse the Body Ventura.
Who in the? Do you even know who that was? That random?
I think so. I hope so.
I mean,
I hope it just wasn't somebody's wife that he snatched up.
It just, I mean, okay, so for those that aren't watching, Flair just grabs some girl, who knows who it is, just gives her the big old lip lock. I mean, listen, you talk about entertaining. That guy, something else. But a couple things from this post-match interview here, Arn, and not to beat the dead horse, no pun intended, but it's clear Roma is just not as comfortable in front with the mic in front of him.
It was just shoehorning him into a situation that you couldn't have a winner in. I just don't believe anything after Blanchard was going to be adequate.
But you know what? I look at it, right, and you got to think, on one side of me, if I'm Paul Roma, I have the Nature Boy Ric Flair. On the other side of me, I have the Enforcer Arn Anderson, both, by the way, who are going to talk in this interview. And I got to come in and I got to say a few lines too. You want to talk about intimidating, my friend. That's an intimidating circumstance to be put in. I don't care how tenured or how long you've been in the game for. So I'll give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But, hey, he's a horseman. So expectation is you got to be ready.
Well, my question was I the old guy, or was I the idiot, or was I the fat guy? I could have very easily been all three.
Do you want me to tell you what it was? I remember.
I'm pretty sure I know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I know, but it could have all been directed.
You could have worked for all three in that one. I
qualified for all that positioning.
Listen, it's just all heat, like you said. You were slapping grandma, and they're trying to slap back at you. But man, you were a stud in that ring. But the other thing is Jesse. Did you catch how he corrects himself? No longer the Four Horsemen. He hurry ups and change it to the Horsemen. So we had watched where Ole was introduced at Slamboree as one of the members, but that was only that one night affair. And but yeah, that fourth spot never filled, and here we go. It's no longer the Four Horsemen; it's now just three of you, and it's just the Horsemen. Do you ever remember kind of that discussion?
Well, when I look back on it, it was the same theory was prevalent at that time. It was more about protecting Rick than anything else, other than having him just stand alone. Let's face it, he made a lot of enemies. You know, he would have been picked off by a lot of guys had he not had a support system around him. That's just reality. We pissed a lot of people off. We made a lot of enemies. There's no doubt about that. And to have me willing to just step back into the role that I had always had, I had his back, was probably a better fix for him. And it gave the Horsemen a lot more stroke, I think, than if we all just would have went our separate ways.
Yeah, and I guess there had to be some type of conversation, obviously, because Jesse called himself to say, hey, let's just call us the Horsemen from now on. We're not going to do this and we don't have a fourth person, so this is how we're going to roll with it.
Yep.
Yeah.